All right, everybody, welcome back. We're here for episode 27 of the Ready, Set, Shag podcast, 2024. That's the year. It's turned out to be a busy year for this show, and my guest today is kicking off the season. Um, really, it's gonna be fun. I'm really excited. If you guys are here for the first time, the Ready, Set, Shag podcast is a place where I can come and talk to people who I admire, who I look up to, and people I just want to get to know better. And as always, my guest today is no exception. He is a YouTube political commentator. He is a staunch 2A advocate and gun enthusiast. Today we have CannonHotep. How's it going?
What's going on, everybody? Salute, salute, salute.
Thank you for accepting my invitation. It's been a long time coming. We had some scheduling snafus late last year, and then through the holidays and everything. But we're finally here. So thank you again. It's really great to talk to you.
No problem. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to make it.
Yeah. And for those who don't, I guess for those who are unfamiliar with you, who are going to be listening on other platforms, give us a rundown of who you are, what you do, and give us a little insight into what a Hotep is.
Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah.
So I'm CannonHotep from Hotep Nation. You guys might be more familiar with like Hotep Jesus, Uncle Hotep. They found me roaming through the Twitter woods, yelling at people and all that other stuff. I'm the resident 2A expert of Hotep Nation. Like you said, an avid 2A enthusiast slash prepper. I do a lot of politics and pop culture on YouTube. You can catch me on rumble.com at Hotep. I'm about to say Hotep Jesus at CannonHotep and CannonHotep, and on YouTube at CannonHotep. Also over on X at CannonHotep. Basically, so Hotep it means to be at peace, to be at one, satisfaction, self-mastery, and that's what we strive to instill in our our not, I'm not gonna say fan base, because I like to look at my subscribers as family. I mean, we try to instill that in our community. We're not one for excuses. It's more like, if you got an obstacle, figure out your way around that obstacle and succeed. We try to push self-accountability, self-mastery. That's what a Hotep is. Unfortunately, in the 90s and the early 2000s, it was a pejorative. People would use Hotep as like a negative,
Really?
like wild-eyed, crazy conspiracy theorists, 5%, it was stuff like that. But Uncle Hotep, Hotep Jesus, they was like, we're going to change that word and make it back into the prominence that it once was. When I found those guys, I was like, they think like me, and I adopted the moniker CannonHotep, and the rest is history.
Yeah. How do you can you explain the etymology of, I mean, Hotep, but like cannon, is that specific? Is that like drawing attention to your love for guns? Is like cannon, or like how did your name come about?
So it came from my love of guns. Also, funny, my dad, right? So I never liked my name, not like my name. My name is Brandon, right? And that's the most vanilla name you can have in life, right?
I don't know. My name's Tom, so it's
So I remember I was like, my dad had a boxer, and his name was Cannon, and I always loved the name Cannon. I'm like, why'd you name me Cannon? Like what Brandon come from? You know what I mean? It was like, you should have named me Cannon. Jeez, that's dope. But it definitely came from the love of guns. So my friends around the way would call me Cannon because I always got a gun on me or something like that. So it's
yeah.
just stuck. So yeah.
What do you think about, like, I mean, you being such a staunch like 2A advocate, like which is great. I think people's right to bear arms is something that's important. I think being able to protect yourself against a potentially tyrannical government is something that is or should be a God-given right to everyone, and we shouldn't have to fear the people who are, in control of us. What do you think about people who are looking to, like, do you think it's something that is coming, that they are going to come for everything, or do you think that the United States will hold fast on that and stick with 2A?
I think that the left really wants to come after guns. I think that we see these arbitrary rules they put in place. Like it's like they're like, we can't necessarily mess with the Second Amendment as is, but we can make it hard for you guys to get a gun. You know, like the pistol brace rule that they try to put in place, or the suppressor law that they have in place, or the magazine ban, or like here in Maryland where you need to take, well, I think we just overturned that finally after years, but you had to take a 16-hour course, and then maybe they might say it's okay for you to have a gun, you know, to
Wow.
carry a gun in public. You know what I mean? Um, it's I think they wanna take our guns away from us because it's easier to control a populace who can't fight back. You know,
I can, yeah.
because I always say it. I say if you can circumvent or get rid of the Second Amendment, you might as well throw the rest of the Constitution in the trash can because it doesn't matter at that point. That's what the Second Amendment is, what keeps the Constitution, what gives the Constitution teeth.
It's a good point. I mean, I think that's a perfect way of painting it, is it gives it teeth. Um, and I think and I think there's that. I think it's an old adage that's saying basically, like, government officials should fear their people.
Yes.
Like, you work for us. Like, we can't. We all want to come together and be a united, statehood. But there's people that have decided that they're going to run the show. Well, this is our way of saying, if you step out of line, this is what's going to happen. Um, what are your thoughts on the January 6th insurrection? Do you think something like this do you think it's been overblown? I mean, I would say that you would say it's overblown, but do you think people are taking it way out of context, and as again, another way to uh, put guns in a stranglehold and maybe rip it out of our arms?
I mean, come on, Shags. I mean, it was the worst day since that day in September, man. It was the worst day since Pearl Harbor. Oh my gosh, it's the worst day since Bay of Pigs. You know what I mean? Like, you would
Yeah,
think they forget about the weather underground. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You telling me? So it was like I seen on Twitter the other day. Somebody had a great tweet. It was like, you know, oh, we got to ban the dreaded AR-15, or no, it was, oh, you think your AR-15 will stop the government? You know, we got tanks and stuff. And
yeah.
then on the other hand, people with sticks and flags almost overtook the Capitol. It's like,
Right,
come on, guys, like, come on, stay consistent. You know what I mean? I think it was
yeah,
completely overblown. Especially, like I say it all the time, like that day one footage. When you see day one footage of an event, it always mess with the narrative. If you can remember it or hold on to it, because we all saw that day one footage for the most part. We saw what happened that day. We
right.
saw, you know, the stanchions being open. We know that, and I think it's been overblown. I think they did it to set a narrative so they could fortify 2020. They had
Yeah,
the Time magazine article that I show all the time. Um, the title was the shadow campaign that helped save the 2020 election, and it goes on to tell you how big tech and big government conspired to fortify 2020.
yeah. It seems like I'm not. I haven't gone down the rabbit hole of the election stuff, as far as like rigging and all that. I don't believe personally that things were so far off that Trump lost. I haven't. It's merely out of ignorance. I haven't gone down the rabbit hole of it. I don't think it was fair, and I don't think elections have been fair for a while. I think there's been issues with these voting machines, and and if I'm sure this is gonna get me demonetized, but it's just one of those things. I feel like I think there's weird stuff at play. I think what's even weirder is that there hasn't been coverage of the opposite side of this. Like, especially day one footage you see of all the bad stuff happening
Right.
in there. Ashley Babbitt, all that stuff. But you're not seeing. You have to go to these alternative sources to see the doors being opened by security, and like these people just like walking within the stanchions. Like, oh, they're not. You mean these people aren't ripping everything down? They're like, some people are just like chilling, like looking around. Like,
Right.
why isn't the media doing their job in covering that? Um, like that to me is the most suspicious thing of all. Is like, now these state run news outlets they're just ignoring what's right in front of our face.
Again, with that Time magazine article, they published that article right after the inauguration. the shadow campaign that saved the 2020 election. And they told you, they like, yeah, we took it, but it was for your own good. It's
Right.
exactly like if you read the article, that's the conclusion it comes to is, yeah, we did, but it was for your own good. It's for democracy. You know how they like to say that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a lot. It's a big rabbit hole to go down. And I've been going down that rabbit hole since I watched it live from my desk yelling, it's a trap from my from my
Right.
cubicle at work. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's a lot to that thing, from the agent provocateurs that were, influencing people to do certain things. It only take a few to make the many look bad, you know what I mean? But there's a
Yeah.
whole lot of questions that haven't been answered, like why wasn't the National Guard allowed?
Right.
Especially when Donnie T asked for 10,000 troops and
Yep.
Nancy Pelosi said no. Why did Mario Bowser say that the DC Metro Police couldn't help
Mm.
until 5 o'clock p.m. that day when everything was in the thick of it? It's a whole lot of questions. Why was Nancy Pelosi's daughter there filming her quote unquote documentary just so happened to be there at the right place at the right time? You
Right.
know, why did it get breached right as they were getting ready to vote, whether to certify it or send the votes back to the states to be recounted? There's a lot of questions that haven't been answered, but they'll gaslight us and say, hey, this is the worst day, this is the worst day in US history.
Yeah.
People fall for it. People love to be willfully ignorant. They don't want their belief system broken. They don't want to ask questions. If anybody asks any questions, they need to be banned. They need to be shut up. They need to be treated like a leper.
Right. Yeah, that's always been the weird part of it for me is like when and I think that's why like the red pills went down so easy in like 2020 for me, 2019 because I was like nobody's questioning this. Like the media's job, like their one job is to literally question everything. They're supposed to be like neutral in this fight and they're supposed to question this side and that side and bring the facts to you. And instead, they were like just pushing things aside. Or, the worst was the Charlottesville quote that was completely snapped out of context. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't cut it there. Like there's a
Right.
whole other part that changes that.
Right. And I remember that. I watched that live. I watched it live. I watched the Charlottesville stuff happen live between the rebel media and what's her name? Millie from InfoWars, I think her name was.
Yeah. Mhm.
I was going between the two. I had Periscope on my phone watching the rebel media, and I had the YouTube feed going. And I'm watching live everything that's happening down there. And then to watch the news act like my eyes betrayed me, you know what I mean? Was crazy. Was crazy
Right.
to me. You know what I mean? And they push that narrative. Like you said, I'm like, you can clearly see that they edited this, but people run with that same thing. They still say it to this day.
Yeah.
And then even if you show them the complete uh statement in context, it's like they short circuit and they can't compute it. It's like no, that's not what happened. Like I'm showing you it in context. No, but still I can't, and then they start glitching out. You know what I mean? It's the same thing
Right.
with marching to the Capitol. When he said that, they cut it right there. And then you see when you play it. And so, for example, I had a stream that I did on what's her name, Cassidy Hutchinson, and
Mm.
I was ripping her entire testimony apart, and I played the context in which the committee wasn't playing it, and then I wake up at 6 in the morning, get ready for work, stream gone. I got a strike. I'm down for 2 weeks. Stream gone completely. It still lives on Rumble, but YouTube took that thing completely down. And
Wow.
it was no misinformation in there. I showed in context and all that other stuff. It was gone. They don't want that out there. They don't want a narrative other than what they're trying to push, you know, in the ether. You know what I mean? And I was
Yeah.
and that stream was doing numbers. That
Oh,
stream
I
was
bet.
doing numbers and it was gone. Boom. Then I was down for 2 weeks, couldn't do anything.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of these companies, especially YouTube, jumps on the whole like, well, we're doing it just like that Time magazine said. We're doing it for your protection. We're doing
Right.
it so you stay safe because if people get this idea in their head, something bad might happen. And that
Right.
seems to be an ongoing theme with a lot of things, which is I don't know. I like to think, I don't know about you, but I like to think that most people are pretty good, given their natural faculties and their inclinations. They will often help people before they hurt someone.
I agree.
Right, and, like and I think a lot of this stuff, like, if something's getting a lot of views on YouTube, well, A, maybe there's some truth to it, but B, it could just be morbid curiosity. You know how many times I've watched a YouTube video and done nothing with the information, just been like, "Oh, well, that's cool to know. Next." You know? Like,
Exactly.
it
That's what most
that's
people
what
do.
yeah, and that's what worries me. It's what's worried me about all this and why I started watching people like yourself and Hotep Jesus and Uncle Hotep. Like they were all you guys are all like saying things that I was like thinking. So it's like, okay, I'm not crazy. You know, that like other people are thinking this stuff too. And I don't think it's a stretch that uh things are getting out of hand. You know, I'm not so far down the rabbit hole that I think a giant cabal is trying to control everything, but you know, sometimes I can't help myself but put on the tinfoil hat because some of it adds up. Um, so to that end, I thank you guys for doing what you do because I think you keep people informed where you can. And I
Yeah.
know YouTube's been hard on you guys. And did you guys move pretty much a lot mostly to Rumble recently because of all the stuff like demonetization and such?
Yeah, so what we did for the most part, like we still stream on YouTube and but we try to push our stuff to Rumble. So like you'll see us, especially like what I do is I'll start a stream for the most part on YouTube. And then if I'm like, okay, if I know that a topic might be a little too much, I'll be like, all right, guys, we're going for a Rumble exclusive, and then I'll cut the feed.
Yeah.
But yeah, once so do you remember that Jerome Davis ad where he was sitting at his breakfast table and he had the Klan members coming through his yard and he had the AR-15. It was like a campaign ad.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wake up one morning, I got a strike and I don't know why. I got to strike them down for 2 weeks. Don't even know why. They didn't say they did. They just gave me a stream that I did, and I'm like, what's wrong with this stream? So then I'm looking through the stream and I come across that ad and I'm like, it has to be this. It has
Yeah.
to be. So then I raise a big stink on YouTube, I mean on Twitter. A bunch of bigger YouTubers get behind me, like that's not cool, free Cannon, Hotep, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, legal mindset gets a strike. Next thing you know, Hotep Jesus gets a strike. Next thing you know, I think Chrissy Mayer got one. The
Mhm.
quartering, I think he got a warning. A bunch of us, I think I forgot how many YouTubers got for praising that one ad,
Yep.
for praising that one ad. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But when that happened, a lot of us was like, you know what, forget it. We're gonna go Rumble exclusively. And I went Rumble exclusively for like a couple of months.
Yeah.
Then my subscribers were like, yo, you should still probably still, stay on YouTube a little bit, but just, you know, when you ready to talk, talk that talk, cut the feed and go to
Right.
Rumble. So that's what we're trying to do. We got Hotep TV over on Rumble. We're all three of us stream at least once a week over there.
What do you think about so this is something that I don't know. I've gone back and forth on the leaving YouTube, leaving Twitch because I made my start on Twitch as a gaming streamer. I love video games. But I think there's some importance to fighting these battles on these battlegrounds, right? Like
Mhm.
so Twitch being a very liberal media outlet or outlet, YouTube the same way. But I do find that it's important that we have to find some way because this is where people are,
Right.
right? Like,
And I agree
you,
with that. I know where you're going with it.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's the unfortunate part is as much as I don't want to like give Twitch money or YouTube money, like everyone's here, and the minds that you want to like get into are
Right.
here. You know, you're not going to get liberal minds on Rumble, very
Yeah.
very few, and I think you stand a better chance. Like, what do you think about that? You think it's worth doing?
No, I actually agree with you. So and that's another reason why my subscribers are like, hey, yo, come back to, YouTube. Because I asked the question. I said, yo, you think I should come back over here to YouTube? Because I was only doing it for the after party for Hotep's Been Told You. I was
Yeah,
only doing Thursdays. And I remember something that Hotep Jesus had said. He said, yo, we the hearts, like you just said, the hearts and minds over here, we gotta reach them where they are.
yeah,
We gotta move differently behind enemy lines, I guess you should say.
right,
So like you said, like for example, when Parlor was around, it was just an echo chamber on Parlor. We
yeah,
all thought the same thing, but it's like, okay, cool. We just preaching to the choir over here. I'm gonna stay over here on Twitter
right,
because this is where the real fight is. You know what I mean? This is where the people who minds need to be changed or an argument's going to happen is over here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Same thing with Truth Social. You know, it's an echo chamber. You know,
Yeah.
I think they got a better, you know, when it comes to like reporting news, I think it's better. But when it comes to the debates and the arguments and stuff like that, it's happening on X.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like we have to be there. As much as we don't want to be, as much as they stifle us, like I'm shadow banned, beyond shadow banned. I think I've been suspended from YouTube at least 5 times since I've been streaming in the last 2 years. But this is where the fight is here on YouTube, is trying to figure out how to circumvent the algorithm and reach new hearts and minds and change people's perspectives on you know, important topics.
Yeah, it's just tough though, because I mean, it's like you're feeding the beast to some extent because they're getting their pay. You know, they're like, oh well, they get all the information, and I just think like, well, you'll have a cell phone in your pocket, like you're being tracked, so that's not the issue anymore. You know, it's just like, you know, like you're not getting away from anything. So you got to do what you can with what you have. And if everybody is watching on YouTube, and it's not to say people shouldn't go there. You want to go on Truth Social, you'll probably get some good banger news over there. You probably get some good tweets from Trump. You know, go have fun. But I think you need to make a point to be in the places where people are, because you're not going to change everyone's mind, but
Right.
you'll get in there. And I don't know. And
I mean, if
I
you want to grift and you want to get money and you want to, like, you know, yeah, Truth Social, or, you know, one of the places where everybody agrees with you, it's probably easier to go over there, grift, and build your fan base or build your following over there and bring it with you. But if you're really trying to do the work, you're really trying to change people's minds and have people look at issues a different way, you have to go into that PvP zone, which,
yeah.
you know, that's Twitter, you know what I mean? That's
Yep.
YouTube, that's
Yeah.
Twitch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, have you ever streamed on Twitch, tried to like get into that? Because I mean, they have a whole podcasting channel. Do you guys do anything like multi-stream onto Twitch too?
I have it set up in my OBS and on my stream deck. I don't use it. I was using it for a little bit,
Yeah.
and then for some reason I just stopped. There was no particular reason why I stopped. I just stopped doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I never really gave Twitch much of a chance.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is that I think the political scene over there is like
Mhm.
growing a little bit. Like, I think
Okay.
there are people who are keyed in. I have libertarian and commentator like as tags on my stream, and I've actually had people come in because they were searching that tag. So you might be pleasantly surprised to find a political audience over there
Mhm.
for something. And I don't know. I know they ban people for wrong think and wrong speak, but I don't know how far it goes, and I don't know if I haven't heard much about like the political talk, like banning people. Um,
I
you
know
know,
Gossip's got a bad rap over there in the beginning, right?
Gothics, yeah. I mean, I mean, a lot of it was because she was a gamer, and then because she dared think outside of the group with what's it called there? Was that movie? Little Mermaid.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, that was her, the coffin nail for her, and then she was just like, "You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna start speaking my mind." But
Mhm.
I think you, as someone who isn't, like, plugged into the gaming part of things,
Mhm.
and then just doing political stuff, I think you might find, you know, some decent people over there, but, you know.
I might have to look more into that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so you said you're also a prepper.
Yeah.
Um, so to what extent do you do prepping? I know a few people who prep, and honestly myself, I thought like it's probably a pretty good idea at this point to start prepping.
So like I'm still learning, right?
Yep.
So I'm still learning. But I have taken necessary steps so at least so I know I can feed my family, right, and defend
Mhm.
them. So but it's
Yep.
still things we're learning. Like I still need to learn first aid. I still need to get a ham radio or something like that, you know what I mean, for communications if the lights went out. Um, Everybody made fun of me. I bought one of those EMP shields, and I'm hoping it works. I'm hoping it works. This, you know, they apparently the DOD they putting them in their trucks, and I'm like, if the government putting it in there, this stuff, maybe it'll work. I don't know. I said if it don't work, then I guess I'm out of luck. You know, I got to use some contingencies. But
Right.
I'm learning how to can meats. I need to learn how to garden. I have no clue how to garden. I got a neighbor
Yeah.
that I'm like, I figure like, I'll trade him some bullets for like some carrots or something crazy. But
There you go.
I can hunt, I bow hunt and I rifle hunt. Um, so that's the type of prepping I'm doing. I want to buy some land somewhere so I can get the heck out of Dodge if things go south, because I don't want to have to pop one of my neighbors in the tail if they try to come get my stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm just looking at things and how it is, especially now that you got these billionaires building these bunkers now. It's like, what y'all know that we don't know,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. Well, have you, I don't know if you're a reader at all, but there's a great book that I would suggest you read. I think there's 3 books in this series, but the first one is the one I've read. It's called 1 Second After.
Oh yeah, I got
Um,
all three. Yeah, that's the one that Congress actually recommended, right? Newt Gingrich or something. Who does the forward
yeah,
in the
Newt.
book?
Yeah, Newt Gingrich.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I read that book back in 2014, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 2014. I got all 3 books. Yeah, I haven't finished the 3rd book though. I haven't finished the
Okay.
3rd book. But I have those, and I also shout out to Angry American. He's a part of the Council on Future Conflict. Kind of
Mhm.
cool to run in his circle, but he has his Going Home series, which
Yeah.
is along the lines of 1 Second After. So a lot of the stuff in that book I hear, and I'll be like, oh, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. I need to go ahead and incorporate that. Now my
Right.
dad's starting to get on track with a lot of the stuff now too. Like, I was at his house, and once he saw the movie Leave the World Behind, and he saw the Civil War trailers, like, man, they trying to hint at something. He's like, I need 15 water filters. I need I think I was gonna order 20 power banks, battery banks for like electronics.
Yeah.
I need that. I need you to find me 1,000 rounds of 308. That's his favorite gun. I don't know why that's his favorite gun.
Bro,
But he
308s
used
are
to walk around.
nasty.
Oh, it's nasty. Where I got one sitting right there, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to. You can run with the 308. I said, I'm gonna get the more price savvy bullet. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with my 5.56, and he got the nerve to yell at me for my 300 blackout. Where you gonna find that for? Find that at? I was like, it's fine. I got it. I got enough rounds. And if we're running low, I got a lot of 5.56. But he's starting to get on track with the whole prepper thing. Canned goods, oodles and noodles, stuff like that that can sustain you for a while.
Yeah.
Like I said, the canning, I'm getting into that, which is really interesting. I never even knew that, other than the cans you get at the grocery store, I didn't know that you can sit there and buy it. I just thought mason jars was for me to drink moonshine and iced tea out of. until, until I started looking up canning. I'm like, oh wait, what? It'll last me 6 years before it starts to, like, lose its nutrients, but it'll last 25 years of self stability.
Yep.
So, I start getting interesting, bug out bags, stuff like that. I'm learning. And I'm starting to kind of get into some of these prepper groups, like Joe Dolio with Future Conflict. He has his tactical wisdom books, which is amazing. He goes over everything from ham radios to first aid and stuff like that. My homeboy Just Josh, we're going to start collaborating a lot. I know he's big into it. I'm sure he knows a lot more than I know about it, but I'm learning, right? And I just want to make sure that if the lights go out, or if we got a natural disaster, because we got 2024 started off hot. It started off real hot.
Yeah.
We got tsunamis and earthquakes happening in Japan and all that other stuff. And I'm sitting there like, man, I was like, we get a natural disaster. My father said he ain't got no lights right now. He said, something going on. Why ain't got no lights? I said, well, there's this crazy storm that we got going on where the kids get out 2 hours, or they have a 2-hour delay for wind and rain.
Yep.
Never heard of it in my life.
Nope.
But he don't have no lights right now, and I thought about what happened in Texas a few years back, or what happened in Puerto Rico and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, if you don't have to be a lights out situation or an attack. It could just be a natural disaster, and we got to fend for ourselves for a few weeks. You know what I
Yep.
mean? You need to make sure you
Yeah.
got food, and make sure y'all got water, and I got to make sure I can protect you guys if some people want to come get what we got.
Yeah.
So that was the whole thing behind that. So.
Yeah, isn't it wild? I talk about this a lot, and I I see I see the brain rot on Twitter sometimes, and like what they commit themselves to on a daily basis on that app and that website. And it goes to show, like, we've lost purpose. Like, look at all the things that you just mentioned. And most of the stuff that you're talking about has been, like, literally the lights go out. Like, you need to know all that stuff. You don't know how to can
Exactly.
food, you don't know how to hunt, like, you don't know how to protect yourself. it's all up to you.
Right.
It's all up to you, and nobody, myself included, doesn't know, like, how to, like, well, there's a few people who really know how to take care of themselves 360 degrees, but, like, most people are done, man,
Oh, they're
and
done
that
for.
shit is scary.
And the funny
And
part is when people ask me about, well, how'd you get into guns? And I tell them, I say, uh, rapper out of Atlanta named Killer Mike, right?
mm,
He was at a, I don't know, if he was at a town hall or what, and he was ripping them a new one. He said, how many of y'all know martial art? How many of y'all shoot on a regular basis? How many of y'all know how to fish? How many of y'all know? He said, I love you, but you ain't ready to revolt S. You ain't ready to revolt nothing.
yeah,
He said, you ain't ready you can't feed yourself. You can't protect yourself. You said you can't grow your own food. And it hit me hard. And
yeah,
I went to my dad's office like that. We ain't ready if some things go down here. Oh, what are you talking about? I thought you guys been in martial arts all your lives. Blah, 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 blah. I said, I'm talking about guns. We don't know how to hunt. We don't know how to shoot. We don't know none of that. So that's when we really started to get into everything. It was
yeah.
around 2015, especially when old Hill Dog was doing that war cry with Russia.
Ugh,
I was like, uh-oh. I was like, I think we need to learn some things, because I was like, Red Dawn, Red Dawn, Red Dawn.
yeah. Well, and what people don't understand is they hear someone say, "I'm a prepper," and they automatically think, "Oh, they
Mhm.
think of the Alex Jones meme putting the tinfoil hat on." And it couldn't be necessarily farther from the truth, because what it is, it's preparing you for skills, and it doesn't even have to be,
Mhm.
Civil War stuff or anything. Like, you just become less dependent on the system, and anyone with half a brain cell would know, like, that's a good thing. I don't Oh, you mean I don't have to go into the supermarket and buy every single thing? Like, I can spend the day tending my garden, or know how to, like, fix something, or just communicate with someone halfway across the world because I can run my ham radio or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
Right,
like, all that stuff, again, it gives people a purpose. I can get up today because I have stuff to do, because if I don't do it, I'm out of here, like,
right. And
literally 80
and that's
years
how they
ago,
live.
everyone
Yeah,
did it.
that's how our great grandparents lived. You know what I mean? That was a daily thing for them. You know what I mean? It would just get up
Right,
and that's what they did. You know what I mean?
right.
Back in those Dr. Quinn medicine woman days. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They got up and that's how they live. I commend a lot of those people that do the homesteading. I'm like, man, that's awesome. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I would love some land so I could do some homesteading like that.
yep,
Um, and not have to be like, I got a great neighborhood. I live in a great community, but it's like 1,000 houses in this community. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And imagine 1,000 people trying to descend on you because you the one that ain't left your house in a few days.
right,
You know,
yeah,
but it's nothing wrong with it. And if nothing happened, guess what? You got some canned goods downstairs you can eat. You know what
right.
I mean? Just go, have a little dinner party or something. Invite people over to eat all your food.
Right, and the thing is, you have kids, and so
Mm.
as you're learning this stuff, your kids can learn it.
Right,
At least your son, and, like, maybe your daughter won't, but, like, at least that he would, like, learn something, and your daughter would probably learn something too through all this, even just by watching what you're doing. And there's
yeah,
nothing more valuable than being able to pass those skills on to your offspring. That's the whole idea. That's how
right,
we got where we are today, because our great great grandparents, great grand were all doing that stuff because they had to. And there's
mm,
nothing wrong with, I mean, technology is always gonna get better, you know?
right.
I have a feeling we're reaching somewhat of a plateau. Like, I don't know how much fucking better it can get. Like, you get so lazy that some other fat asshole can bring you food because you're too lazy to make it. Like,
Right, exactly.
that's where we're at, you know? Like,
We about to be in the Wall-E era.
yeah, yeah. So, like, I think that's super important, and it's something that I've even thought is, like, I work in the trades, I work in construction,
Mhm.
and, like, people don't even know how to, like, fix basic stuff around their house, basic electrical engineering, and it's eventually you're gonna need it, if for nothing
Yeah.
else, you'll save yourself a few bucks because you can wire a light in your house.
Yeah, I mean, I would take, I forgot who said it, but I would take an electrician over 1,000 revolutionaries. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
It's gonna be a niche, job soon because nobody wants to do it. Everybody wants to be on the internet. Everybody want to be TikTok famous. You know what I mean? These kids aren't aspiring to be electricians and carpenters and plumbers.
Yep.
That's not it's not the sexy job. You know what I mean? They want to talk about ooh glizzy, thank you for the rose, thank you for the rose. You know what I mean? Versus learning the skill. Yeah. instead, instead of learning the skill, you know what I mean? Like I was my degree is in electronics engineering.
Yeah.
You know, I was an electrical apprentice for a couple of years. You know, and then my grandfather was a carpenter, and I was helping him with that stuff when I was 11, 12 years old, helping him. You know, I know how to frame out a room. You know,
Yep.
I know the basics of plumbing and electrical work and stuff like that. You know, I learned it from my grandfather, and those skills they transition in my, you know, they transfer in my life all the time. You know, so like even with the prepping stuff, if you don't got to go hunt to feed your family before, so they don't got to starve, at least you know how to hunt. At least you got that skill under your belt. You know,
Yep.
jujitsu. You know, you know, hand-to-hand combat. At least you got that skill under your belt.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It doesn't hurt to have it, you know. It ain't like, oh darn, the world's not going to end. I'm not going to be able to use this stuff. Like, no, you still can use it. You
Right.
know, why not learn those skills? Learn CPR. You
Right.
know, there was a lady, we had a holiday party at my job, and she had a seizure right then and there. And you know, I know what I know, and another lady knew what we know. And between me and her, we were able to, you know, because you know what people with seizures, you just got to let them come out of it.
Yeah.
We were able to keep, you know, her I guess calm, for lack of a better term, until the paramedics got there, and while everybody else was in a panic. You
Yep.
know, like that one time where I needed that skill, it came in handy.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. I
know,
have seizures too. So it's like one of those, like I tell my wife, like, move stuff away from me. Don't put
Mm,
anything in my mouth. If you're gonna move me, just push me up on my side.
yeah,
So if I do throw up or if any liquid comes out of me, it just runs
right.
out. But 220 pounds is hard to move.
Yeah, you know, and
Dead weight.
I can. Hey, I'm 290 this morning when I woke up.
Damn.
Fat ass.
Muscle.
I'm getting
Muscle.
it. I'm coming down. I'm coming down. All right,
Oh
I'm
boy.
coming down. But yeah, it doesn't hurt to have those skills at all. You know what I mean? It doesn't
Yeah.
hurt to know that stuff. Like I said, your great grandparents. That's how they had to know it. That's
Mhm.
how they had to live.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it was nothing for them because that's just the way things were.
Yeah.
You know, why can't you just take a couple of hours out of your day and go water some plants outside that might grow into some tomatoes? You can do it in a Home Depot bucket,
Right.
you
Yeah,
know?
those are free. You just gotta buy some. You just grab one out
Yeah,
of the bucket and walk out of there.
exactly.
Um,
You know what I mean?
yeah, dude, it's good to hear like you say that because I think people forget, and I say this like jokingly a lot with my audience. I say, I'm really putting myself out of a job because I don't want you guys to stay here and like watch me for hours on end. Like if you get anything out of these conversations is take the information you need and then when you're done with it, unplug, go outside. Like at the risk of sounding cliche, like go touch grass
Right,
because guess what? Like that's the world out there. Twitter is a small snapshot that's curated just for you and your likes. And we all live in an echo chamber there. It's very few people have both sides of the conversation on Twitter. It's a
right.
mess, you know, but people they're not involved with their community anymore. And I actually got a hard lesson maybe 3 weeks ago. I went down to the park with my son, brought his bike down there. He's playing with another kid, and, they live, like, across the park from, this big giant field. They live in the back corner, and, they're about to go home, so the kids are riding their bikes, and I'm walking with the father, and just started talking to him, just like talking about what we do. And it hit me at that moment. And I'm like, I'm not involved with the people that are closest to me enough. I don't think a lot of people are. And that's kind of scary too. It
Yeah,
just opened my eyes to like there's so much more out there
yeah,
than this drama online.
exactly. Your family and community mean a lot, you know?
Yeah. And even like to the ends of like prepping, like
Yeah,
knowing being close with the people, especially, right next to you,
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
pretty valuable.
Yeah, like I was saying, my neighbor, that's my cousin. I didn't know it was my cousin until I bought my house.
Oh, really?
Kind of find out she married one of my uncles,
Oh,
one
okay.
of my grandfather's cut brothers or whatever.
Mhm.
And I was like, man, you know, but they're the ones that know how to garden,
Yep.
you know, and I hunt. So it's like, hey, we can do a trade if some things go down. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Why not? Build a community. There's nothing wrong with it. That's why I love Hotep. We're a community. We're a community, and we feed off each other. We got people that have all sorts of different skill sets, and we learn. You know what I mean? From each other. And it's a great thing to be. We're great. Like Jesus always said, we build Hotepistan, and we all just move out there and just, we all just make sure we're good to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like humans, we're pack animals. We want to belong to a group. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's natural, but it doesn't hurt to find a group of like-minded individuals that you can depend on should something do go south.
Yeah. Um, I wanted to share a quote with you and get your thought on it because I heard it and I thought, man, I don't know. I don't know if people think about this stuff enough, like really sit down and think about life and how real it can be. Let me read it for you and then we can talk about it. I don't even know if this is said by someone. It was just it could have been AI generated for all I know now these days. The quote is, sometimes suffering is just suffering. It doesn't make you stronger. It doesn't build character. It only hurts. We don't always get what we deserve. Sometimes we get more. Sometimes we get less. At least we get something. The thing is, when you're young, you always think that you'll meet all sorts of wonderful people. That drifting apart and losing friends is natural. You don't worry at first about the friends you leave behind, but as you get older, it gets harder to build friendships. Too many defenses, too little opportunity. You get busy. And by the time you've realized that you've lost the most dearest friend you've ever had, years have gone by and you're mature enough to be embarrassed by your attitude and frankly by your arrogance.
Mm.
I just want to get your thoughts on that because you seem like, I mean, from our conversation so far, you seem like a pretty down to earth dude. Yeah, just one thing. See what
I
you want.
mean, I've always said it, and life is suffering. That's what it is. Life is suffering. That's what it is. Uh, and I think we're supposed to learn through suffering. You know what I mean? Um, and I also try to live my life humbly. You know, um, I try not to, be big headed or think that I'm better than other people or superior. You know what I mean? That's just not how I am. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
think that I guess the more humble you are, the more willing you are to learn from, whether it's like we talk about with trades or skills and learn from, your mistakes in life.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, I like that quote. You said you're not sure who said it.
Yeah, well, it came across my TikTok feed, and
I like
I a lot of stuff is like I get a lot of like stoicism stuff
Mhm.
that pops up, and I just I've been taking the more realistic route and understanding the need to embrace the suffering. Life
Yeah,
is suffering. It sometimes it's really bad, sometimes it's not so bad.
but it's for a
Um,
reason. It's for a
yeah,
reason.
or even sometimes it's not, sometimes you just get hurt and there may
Yeah,
not be something behind it. Um, or maybe the reason is just to pick yourself up
yeah.
because you
Build that
can't give up.
resolve. Yeah,
Yeah.
build that resolve. Yeah, yeah. I agree. You know what I mean?
Uh,
It builds character.
yeah. And even that, and even like the part about friendships. And I think that's something I've said before. I said it a while ago. Youth is wasted on the young. Because you think you have all this time, right? You think your friends will be there, or hey, I'll just make new friends, and then
Right.
you get to be 40, and you're like, oh, like I don't have a whole lot of friends, and
Yeah,
it's you would think after all that experience, it would be easy to make friends,
yeah. But
but
I look at it as like you just weeded out the ones that wasn't supposed to be there.
right,
You know,
yeah,
like
um,
my circle's gotten smaller and smaller as I gotten older.
yeah. I think it's because, and for me, I think it's because I've become more unapologetically myself. Like the
Yeah,
more I voiced what I believed, the more people were just like, "All right." I'm like, "Okay, well, if you can't handle it, that's your bad." Um,
yeah. I mean, that happened to a lot of people in 2016. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you're right. Plus with me, it's like I learned who my friends really are. You know what I mean? And I learned who I can really depend on. And who
yeah,
can depend on me, and that's the ones that I rock with. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That I, at a moment's notice, like my best friend in the whole world. I got a best friend named Brandon Mason. We've been friends since 7. I know that if I need something, it's happening.
Yep.
There's no questions asked, why, none of that. I got a cousin, Brian. Same thing. If I need anything, it's not, well, what's up? Why you need it? It's like, all right, no problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of my great friends, he's another, I call him my brother, named Tim. Wife, they dropped everything to help us yesterday with funeral, with the repast and stuff like that. No problem. It wasn't a question.
Yeah.
It wasn't an excuse. Well, we can't. Nope. It's like, well, you need us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the people you want in your circle. That's the people you want to help your life suck less.
Right.
Like we said, life is suffering, man. Like you learn from those painful mistakes, you know what I mean? Or you don't. Like you said, it could just be out of nowhere. Like, where did that come from? That hurt. You know what I
Right.
mean? But it's those people in your life that you can depend on that help you pick yourself back up and dust yourself off and get you back on the right track.
Yeah. Um, I thought of this Jordan Peterson quote, and I don't know what you think of him, but I enjoy some of his earlier advice. I think he's got a little nuts recently, but one of the things he says is like you should be capable of violence.
Yeah.
Not that you should be violent, but that you should be capable of it, because um, the alternative is that you're weak, and that's not good. Um, and it just like going back to like the whole prepping thing.
Yeah.
Um,
A violent man is a good man. Yeah.
yeah,
It's a violent man is a good man that knows how to be violent. I forgot. I know exactly what you're talking about.
right,
But yeah, I agree. I heard that a couple of years ago, and I was like, he's right. You know what I mean? I would say something similar to that, but it wasn't exactly as eloquent
right,
uh as Jordan Peterson put it. But he's
yeah,
right. I'm mild mannered. I have every skill to hurt you.
yeah,
You know what I mean? But I choose not to because I'm disciplined.
right,
You know
yes,
what I mean? And
yep,
it's only to protect and not to, you know, to just go out here all willy-nilly and just exude my masculine on people. It's I'm disciplined and I'm dangerous, but at the same time, I can control it.
right,
And
yep,
a good man is a dangerous man, I think so. And I think that what's the other one? Hard times make strong men. You know what I mean? Strong men
yep,
make good times make weak men.
yeah,
I'm one of those guys that would like to think that, you know, I'm a strong man that was raised by a strong man. You know what I mean?
right, yeah,
You know, my dad
yep,
was one of those. He wasn't a hard ass, but he wasn't a hard ass, but he wasn't uh soft either. You know what I
right,
mean? You
yeah,
know, 50 push-ups before you go to the bus. You miss the bus, you walking. You
right,
know what I mean?
right, yeah,
Stuff like that. Ain't gonna have no fat kids and da 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 da.
yeah,
Or like I said, UFC came out what, 92, 93.
mhm,
I'm what, 8 or 9 years old, knowing the rear naked choke in an arm bar. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Stuff like that. I star football player, and I could have a 200-yard game. My dad gonna be like, you could have had another touchdown. You missed that
yeah,
hole. And I'm in
yeah,
the yard. Now I gotta sit here in the yard with him, and I gotta go over what I messed up.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
mhm,
But it made me a strong man. You know
right,
what I mean? It made me
yep,
strive for greatness and not mediocrity, and being content with where I am.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard too, because you wanna walk that line of giving your kids an easier life,
Right.
but part of that is, like, you need to know when to go headlong into something
Yeah.
and suffer a little bit more, 'cause, like, that's your greatest moments of growth are, after those painful, uh, times, or it can be, like, that's the time to pick yourself up, get those calluses, get stronger, um,
Right.
and it's easy to wanna protect and say, "Oh, no, it's okay, like, take it easy." Like, no, those are the times to, like, hit it harder, like,
Yeah.
bounce back, uh, and, I think it's one of the reasons you see a lot of things, happen. Technology advances because you wanna make it easier for people, but you forget to teach them when to put the easy stuff down,
Right.
tablets and, all this online connectivity. It's like, well, sometimes picking up the phone and calling someone or walking somewhere is the way to do it, because that's how we got where we are,
Yeah.
because it was a little bit more difficult. And, but I think at the end of the day, what I think comes back down to is we want to save everyone. Where I think before a lot of this technology came out, acceptable losses was a thing. We knew that not everyone was going to make it. But now that we are where we are, we almost have the capability to literally save everybody. And
That's
it's a
true.
hard pill to swallow to say, well, if you can't do that, you might just not make it. That some of the people we love might not make it.
That's true, but you don't want them. You don't want to see that happen. But
Right.
it needs to, like we said, good times make weak people or weak men. You have to tell them that. You know what I mean? You can't have
Mhm.
that participation trophy. You can't succeed by way of my coattails. You're gonna have to learn how to fish yourself.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Um, but it is getting harder and harder to do that, especially as parents. You know what I mean? Like we want to give, like you said before, we want to give our kids the things we didn't have.
Yeah.
But it can be a detriment as well, giving our kids the stuff that we didn't have because um, they could take that for granted and it can make them lazy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what you want to try to avoid. And that's what I'm trying to avoid with my kids. My kids are lazy. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to, get that out of them. But yeah, I agree with what you said.
Yeah. You gotta learn, like, where when do I snatch that? When do I take that safety net out? Like, when do I let my kids fall on their head,
Yeah.
go broke, whatever? Like, we all got to experience it to some degree. Like, maybe you let them go broke, but then maybe you find a way to that you can help them, and
Mhm.
they can earn that back. It's hard because you don't want to put them in a bad situation, but you need them smart enough to learn, like, once I make that bad choice,
They need that
it's
suffering so they can build that character and that resolve.
right. Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
probably the hardest thing in the world to do. I mean, seeing my innocent little 6-year-old, I can't, like, I'm like, "Man, this kid, he doesn't know evil. He's just the nicest, purest form of a human."
Mhm.
And to know that I'll have to, those lessons will have to be learned,
Yeah.
it, like, breaks my heart.
Right. But you got to make sure he's ready for it because, like I told my daughter, yeah, I said, me and your mom, we're not going to always be here.
Yeah.
And my son, he's very smart, but he's on the spectrum, but he's very
Yeah.
smart. You know what I mean? I said, me and your mom not gonna always be here. You know what I mean? I think it came about because she was apprehensive about some things that I didn't want her to be apprehensive about.
Yeah.
And I said, I need you to know these things. I need you to learn these things. I need to be able to depend on you, you know, should that happen. And I need you to be able to take care of your brother, and it kind of clicked with my daughter. It's like,
Yeah.
I understand now that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just trying to, because that's my biggest fear in life. Well, I got two fears. I don't want to come home and see my family stretched out on the ground because some crazy person. That's why you see all this stuff behind me. Even my
Right.
wife know how to shoot. But I also don't want to leave this world. My kids aren't prepared for life.
Yeah.
You know
Yep.
what I mean? Because I can't
Yeah,
protect
man.
them all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that I think that scares me more than anything. Like, I think losing a child is obviously a huge fear, but the other one, the very close second, is them not having me or not having their mom,
Right.
to care for them and continue to be there for them, because that, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's weird how kids change you. They soften that hard outer shell that you build. But I mean, I'm sure your daughter could probably melt you into a puddle,
Mhm.
but you're still, like, around anyone else, you're just the hardest motherfucker around.
Right.
Um, but I mean, that's just what they do. And I think it's a testament to what, you as a father, but also, like, as a caregiver and all that, like, you know what you need to do. Um, it's tough, man. Being a parent is the hardest job in the world, and it's
It
worth
is
every second.
every second of it. Every second of it. Even when your daughter asks for a BMW, don't know who she thinks she talking to.
Yeah, I know that one's coming for me, and I
Yeah, exactly.
good
It's
luck
that
with that.
age of social media, the age of social media, those unrealistic expectations that people put on life because of that 60-second clip on TikTok or that picture they see on IG. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I was going to ask you something too, like with your, have you always been with your, like, I guess, political alignment?
Mm-hmm.
Have you always been like this, or did you ever find yourself in a more like a more liberal mindset, and then have like awakening? Like a lot of people I talk to,
Mm-hmm.
like, used to be super liberal Democrat, and then something happened, and they were like, "Nope, that's not what I'm doing." What was your story like?
So it's interesting, right? So I grew up in Baltimore City. It's a blue city, right?
Yep.
Family, my father Democrat, my mother Democrat, I'm Democrat. But the thing about it is the values that we held, right,
Yeah.
were more what conservative values are now.
Right.
So as that pendulum or the goalpost started being moved, we were still in our convictions on what we considered to be, you know, uh limited government, stuff like that. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So when 2016 came around, I really started paying attention to politics. I got like the last term for Obama. I kind of started paying attention then because I wanted to
Yep.
see what he did with his last term because I got fooled for the second time
Yeah.
voting for him. Like, oh, he's going to do it this time, guys. This is his last term. He going ham. He getting it all through. We getting everything, guys. And nothing happened. And then I was like, okay, well, that was the letdown. So then, Donnie T come out of nowhere and I start listening to him and I'm like, this guy has no plan. He sounds crazy. But then I'm listening to the other side and I'm like, they're worse. I'm like,
Right.
hold on, wait, what? What's wrong with a wall? I'm like, Obama said he wanted a wall in 2008.
Yep.
I'm like, why is this a problem? I was down for that. That's one of the things I hope he followed through with, and then I'm just sitting there and I'm like, yo, the goalpost has moved dramatically with the Democrats. I can't relate.
Yep.
I can't relate. And then I started listening more and more to Donnie T. I'm like, well, that make more sense. He don't got a plan on how he getting there, but that's what I like. So I started to kind of gravitate to him a little more.
Mhm.
Then my dad was still thinking he was nuts. And then next thing you know, I started showing my dad some things and he's like, huh. And then my dad, Trump train, still is to this day. And it's funny because I tell people all the time, if you heard my dad talk, you think he was some racist white man from Texas. He a black man from Cherry Hill, Baltimore City. It's
Yeah.
just because my dad is lawless. He don't owe nobody nothing. He has his own money. You know what I mean? He does what he wants. He sounds like Donald Trump. He
I was
sounds
gonna
like
say.
so.
Yeah.
I went into it speaking Trump because that's how my dad talks. I would argue to say my dad talks worse
Yeah.
and don't care. You know what I mean? But I started listening to him. I'm like, no, I'm cool. I'm down with that because that's what the Democrats was down with for like 8 years ago. What changed?
Right.
This is what they were campaigning on. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just see what happens. And I think that he did a fantastic job. And right now I'm unaffiliated. I'm not a conservative. I'm not a Republican. I'm not. Well, I mean, I'm conservative as far as like the way I live, but
Right.
um, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat, libertarian. I'm unaffiliated. Like when I went and got my driver's license renewed, I put unaffiliated. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
I'm just who's for me, and what I hold dear. If you're for me and what I hold dear, I'll come holler at you. You know what I mean? Other than that, you can kick rocks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't trust politicians as far as I can throw them.
Right.
I think people who simp for them are, like, a lot of times are just, I think it's kind of weird. Like I'm with you too with, like, I think the world in some regards needed Trump to come out, because you could see all these people's brains just break. There's someone on Facebook who I will constantly, I'll just egg him on because I know he will engage with it. He won't even spell the guy's name right because he's like, I'm not even going to give him points in the algorithm. I'm just gonna like it's just stupid. Like it's so crazy like how anti-Trump people can be or anti-Republican. I'm just like, you just need to live your life. First of all, like white or blue, yellow, red, whatever. Like most of these guys are just trying to line their own pockets with money. They don't give a shit about you. They'll use you to get votes, get in, make their money, make their fortune, and then and retire when they're fucking 90 years old and die in their wheelchair.
Yeah,
Like it's not a great setup right now. It's all broken. But
yeah,
I respected Trump for his honesty and not really. I mean, in some respects, not pretending to be anything he wasn't. He's not a politician. He's a real estate mogul from New York.
yeah.
What do
He
you
told you
expect?
exactly what he was. He said,
Yeah,
"I'm not a." He wasn't even a Republican. He just ran a Republican ticket because that's the one he could get on.
right.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean? But shout out to the Hoteps in the chat, man. But Metastep says, wait, they have you put your political leanings on your driver's license. No, so um when you get your driver's license, they register you to vote if you want to.
yeah,
And if you're already registered to vote, they ask you if there's anything you want to change about your voting proclivities. And I was
yep,
like, yeah, I'm unaffiliated. I can't do both. I can't deal with either. But
yep,
back to your thing, I agree. You have uh those grifters out there who go super hard for one particular candidate because it gets them clicks and stuff like that. I don't even know if they really agree with the candidate sometimes. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, I think it's all a dog and pony show for the most part. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
yeah, I agree with that. But like you can't trust any politician as far as you can throw them. Donald Trump threw a wrench in the gears in 2016. You know what I mean?
sure did.
He knocked a lot of that stuff they wanted to get passed off kilter, and
Yep,
they working at a breakneck speed to try to get it back. And they
yeah.
throwing every Hail Mary they can throw right now to try to keep him from running again because they have nobody that can beat him. Nobody.
It's
It even looks like Michelle Obama look like she about to throw her hat in the ring.
oh, Big Mike's going in the
Yeah,
ring.
Big Mike might get in there.
What do you think? What do you think about Vivek? Have you listened to him talk at all?
I have, and I don't trust him.
Yeah, I'm with
I
you.
don't
I think.
trust him. Like he says everything. Like, so I said this on my stream. He says all the right stuff. It's no reason for me not to like him.
Right.
And he said, like I said, he's running the 2016 playbook perfect.
Yeah.
You know what hills to die on and everything. He's running a perfect race,
Yeah.
in my opinion. He's like the persona he's portraying. It's hard not to like.
Yeah.
I just think that when I saw that he was funded by uh, uh, the Soroses, people were like, well, it was his brother. I'm like, well, it's the same money. I don't think it matters. But at the same time, like, he's part of that think tank. And I'm sitting there like, I just got a feeling that he's gonna do a heel turn if he was to get in, just like Barry O did.
Yeah. That
That's what I'm
I
afraid of. But he says all the right things.
I don't think I knew that he was funded through like, I mean, Soros adjacent money, we'll say.
Yeah, it was
Um,
yeah, Jason Money.
like that, yeah, I mean that to me makes him a little bit more suspicious. I've certainly thought the same thing, like, man, like, he hasn't slipped up once, like,
No,
he is just, like, perfect, like, just saying everything everyone wants. Even some of the big, even some of the big conservative pundits have been like, "Oh, man, like, this is our dude," and I'm like, "Wow,"
yeah.
like,
I mean,
so
he dismantled CNN about the January 6th narrative. He dismantled them.
yeah,
I'm like, yo, you can't help but to like him. I said, I just don't trust him. I don't trust him. I don't
yeah,
trust him. Like I mean, he could very well be genuine. I just don't think that's the case. Then you got some people in the Hotep community like, yo, I think he a Trump surrogate. I think him and Trump working together. Because you got Benny Johnson on his team and all this other stuff. And I'm sitting there, watching him run the 2016 playbook. I was like,
yeah.
y'all might be right. Y'all might be right. He could very well be. I don't know. I just don't trust him right now. I really don't. But you can't help but to like him.
Yeah, I mean, it's still the beginning of 2024. It's a long
Yeah.
year, plenty of time to mess up. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know if he's gonna. He's on it. He's saying the right things. He like all he's got to do is sway the right people,
Yeah.
and Trump won't stand a chance. Because I mean, He's got a good smile. He speaks well. He's everything that Trump isn't. Like
Right, he's
but
polished.
still pushing. Yeah, he's a polished Trump at this point, which it might be enough to take those votes away. I don't know. Though. Trump's got
Yeah,
some big supporters, man.
he does. It's gonna be interesting, but I'm starting to see this pendulum swinging with the influencers starting to kind of sway the way of Vivid.
Yeah.
So that could give him a big hit too. But I still don't. Right now, I still don't think anybody on either side can touch Donnie T yet. Like I said, they're going to need to pull a Hail Mary like a Michelle Obama that could probably pull the ass queens, vote. You know what I mean? The people doing the electric slide in the middle of the street pull their vote. You know what I mean? That's what
Yeah.
they're gonna need. They had RFK, but they didn't want him. They didn't even give him Secret Service detail. I'm like, did y'all not see what happened to his grandfather? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just like, geez, like really? Or his uncle, I guess was his uncle. Anyway, but yeah, so I
His
think it's
uncle.
his
Yeah.
uncle. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm just sitting there like, y'all didn't see what like y'all won't give him any protection. I'm like, they
Yeah.
really don't like that guy. So I'm like, and that's another thing that could, hurt the Democrats is the fact that RFK is gonna pull a lot of votes from them too.
Yeah. The problem with RFK is he's too much of a he talks like a conservative sometimes on vaccines.
He
So
does,
that's the thing. Like
but his
vaccines
climate
is
change and his gun stance is still very much liberal.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's, but the vaccine thing, I think they've really cornered that market in that narrative saying, "Oh, anyone who's saying this, like, no way, not on our team." So we'll just, they couldn't even keep Bernie in the race. They threw Bernie on the bus twice. That guy's just like, I don't know, man. This is weird. The DNC is fucked from wall to wall, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Um, but
I agree. I agree. We're going to see what happens. It's going to be an interesting election season. I'll tell you that much.
yeah,
Much.
I don't wanna do political stuff all that much anymore, but, like, this year, I'm just like, "Man, could be good for my numbers, though."
Oh, it's definitely going to be good for the grift. I'm going to tell you that much.
Yeah,
There's a dark side of the grift and a light side of the grift. We always say, we like to
yeah,
be on that light side of the grift, but yeah, it's definitely going to be a good grift. As if we can get past, because they even starting to stifle like Tim Pool numbers.
yeah,
Anybody that's talking news or whatever. I got to the point where I kind of stopped putting things in the tags just to see what
yeah,
happens. I
yeah,
feel like they're reading those tags like, nope,
yep.
throttle that one. You know? So it's going to be interesting. It's really going to be interesting. I can't wait to see what kind of magic trick they pull out of their hat this time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see how it breaks people again, especially once Trump becomes a little bit more front and center. They're gonna have to start covering him a little bit more. Um, and then if he even does, I would like to see him on a debate stage, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
What I would like to see is, and I said this on my stream before, I don't even want to see him on the debate stage. This is what I want to see. I want to see him like this, how we are, with a lower third screen, and he just do a stream, just berating and rebutting everything that they say on the stream, where he can pause it and go as long as he want and explain things or whatever, and keep going on like him live reacting to the debates. I think if he did that, that would do bigger numbers than any media outlet that's actually hosting the debates, and that would
yep.
give him a huge uh what's the word advantage
Oh,
over
yeah.
everybody,
Yep.
because nobody's going to do that. Chris Christie want to keep talking crap, pause the video and just
Yeah.
give him 2 minutes of hell. You know what I mean? He can't say nothing, and everybody watching you. Look at what happened when they did the Tucker Carlson interview. More people watched that than they did the debate.
Yep. Yeah, I
No,
think you're right. I think you're right, man. Like, seriously, and hopefully, you know what? Maybe somewhere, someone from his team will see this.
yeah,
Do it. And then
exactly.
make sure you attribute it to my boy here because,
There
like,
you go.
it needs to I think if he takes advantage of those things, he could do banger numbers. I mean, the Tucker Carlson one was I mean, is if nothing else, is probably proof of that. Um,
2016 was one on memes. Remember that?
hell, it was. It was. Oh my god, I can't. That's what
2024 maybe one with some live streams.
yeah.
Just saying.
Oh, oh, man. Well, listen, man, I appreciate this conversation. It's been fun. I wanted to step into the back room, as it were, and
Mhm.
do a little exclusive for my locals members, so they can have a little bit of behind the scenes with you and I. Do a couple minutes there, but thank you, man. Do you have anything coming up that you want to let people know about?
No, just Wednesday nights at 8. Well, tomorrow probably be more like around 10 o'clock. But Wednesday nights on Cannon Hotep YouTube channel, Cannon Hotep Rumble channel, Cannon Speaks. You can hear me talk all my craziness over there. Um, we got the Grifties coming up March 9th in New Jersey. If you go to hotepnation.com, hit the Grifties tab, get yourself a ticket. We're gonna be at the Comedy Dojo in New Jersey. We're doing this live for the first time, and I think this is the third or fourth annual Grifties. I think, yeah. I'll be there. Hotep Jesus, Uncle Hotep. We're gonna be live. It's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun. Tickets are $25. Get a ticket if you close by. Come out and have fun with us.
Wait, where in Jersey?
Let me see. Just had it up.
My best friend lives in Jersey. Maybe I'll make a point to go visit him in March.
Let me see. I just had it up. Where's this at? Yeah, fourth annual. We're gonna be at Morris Plains, New Jersey.
Oh, dude, that's like really. I used to go to school in Morris County, which was
Okay.
it was in Madison, so it was very close to Morris Plains.
Yep.
So,
Morris Plains, 231 Speedwell Avenue, the Dojo of Comedy.
damn.
It's gonna be a good time.
Well, heck, I might even show up to that because that sounds. I was just gonna ask you if you guys do any like live events, like meetups or anything like that.
So yeah, we also in the summertime we have the Hotep weekend. We did it for the first 3 years. We did it in Vegas,
Okay.
at the Ahern Hotel in Vegas. This year we're going to Miami, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's always a fun time. It's always lit, man. I mean, this past one was epic. It was so much fun, man. And we had people like Sonny Johnson come hang out with us at Hotep weekend. Crypto Wendy Yo, she comes hang out with us. So many people, man. It's so much fun. We had Kimberly Klasick there 2 years ago. Um, it's a lot of fun. It's just fantastic. It's just doing building exercises and hanging out. Having good fun, good food with a bunch of great people.
Hell yeah, man. No, dude, I'm glad we finally connected because it'd be cool to meet you sometime, and I hope we can make it happen in person. That seriously though, that
Mhm.
the Grifties, it might be something I can make if I've been meaning to go back east because that's where I grew up in Connecticut. So
Okay.
I might head out that way, maybe plan a trip around that time, go down and visit my boy in Jersey, and maybe we'll slide over and meet you. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and if you guys have never seen the Grifties, go to the Hotep Nation YouTube channel and check out the last few award shows we did. It was great. You know what I mean? It's great. This is the
Yeah.
first year we're doing it live. So
You guys are hilarious. What you guys are doing is awesome, and the Grifties are perfect. And to
I
do it live, to
appreciate
see
it.
it live would be awesome.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I can't wait myself.
so guys, his links are down below. Make sure you go follow Canon Hotep. Again, thank you, sir. We're gonna go do our locals exclusive interview. It'll be posted in the next couple of days. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Canon, thank you so much. We will see everybody next time. Thanks, everyone.
Salute.